Kylie set the basement up as she always had. 7 white candles, a ring of salt, and her Ouija board. However, today was different because it was Valentine's Day. This time, Kylie scattered some rose petals and lit some sandalwood incense. She placed some chocolates next to the Ouija board and even wore a pretty red dress. Kylie sat down and placed her planchette on the board. She knew the game wasn't meant to be played alone, but she had been doing so for quite some time now. Settling down on the basement floor, Kylie made herself comfortable, then put her fingers on the planchette. She began as usual, moving the planchette in a clockwise circle, before resting it in the middle. "Is anyone with me?" Her stomach fluttered. The planchette was still. "Is anyone present with me tonight?" She waited, but no response came. The planchette jerked itself to yes. The candles began to flicker, and one of the 7 snuffed out. Kylie smiled. "May I ask who I'm speaking to?" Kylie already knew, or at least hoped, it would be her new friend. The planchette moved. It touched each end of the alphabet in a figure 8 pattern, a telltale sign of her friend. It was AZNM, a demon she called Asm. It had appeared after she played a few times. "Asm, is that you?" No movement. "I know it's you. It's obvious." The air in the basement was already cool, but somehow dropped to a temperature that made goosebumps appear on her arms. Kylie heard something fall off the shelf behind her. She turned to look, but only saw the dark corner of the basement. Another candle snuffed out. "What does my fortune look like today?" PAINFUL. Painful? Kylie gave a sour look. "Come on, that's not nice. How about this then? Will I ever find love?" "Your soulmate burns in hell." Bitch. Wow. Okay, a little strong, but I get the message. In hell must mean you. Sweet. She took one of the chocolates she set out and popped one in her mouth. "I know you can't, but I bought these for you." Something else crashed behind her, and she whirled to see a paint can had dropped off the shelf. It rolled across the floor, making a clanging sound as it did. "Is that you?" "Stop it. You know I'm not scared of you. Don't mess up the basement again." Asm had done it all already. Creepy messages, turning on and off lights, throwing things. At this point, if he didn't throw a knife, she wasn't going to freak out. He would just have to listen to her like every other night. I hate Valentine's Day, actually. No, not because I'm single. Just because I'm tired of hearing everyone talk about it as if it's super special. It isn't really. If you have a partner, you should say you love them every day of the week, right? The planchette didn't move. Kylie rolled her eyes. At least have some opinions. The board was still and silent, but another candle went out. She frowned and tried to move on. "Okay, fine. I'll be honest with you. I played today because I wanted to ask you something." "Go." to hell. Oh, stop. It was Azam's way of flirting. Maybe, but don't interrupt. I'm nervous. Anyhow, I wanted to ask if you would be my Valentine. She expected some sort of sign. Maybe the candles would flare or a spectral cackle would rumble through the basement. She even expected the board to answer her in some derogatory way. Something should have happened, but the basement was quiet yet again. Hello, Azam. At least have the courtesy to reject me. Another candle went out. 3 were left. Kylie opened her mouth to tell Azam to stop, but the hairs on the back of her neck stood up and a chill ran down her spine. She could feel something watching her. Something in the corner. Kylie looked up. The basement corner seemed darker than it was before, as if darkness had eaten part of the basement and there was no corner left. She squinted and peered into where she knew the corner should be, trying to make out what she was seeing. The 3 candles are still alight, but even that did not penetrate the dark corner. Then, she finally saw it. Kylie saw a pale face hovering in the corner. It was as white as a sheet, but very faint, as if it wasn't quite done materializing into the basement. Kylie gasped at its sudden appearance. She felt her blood run cold at the sight of it. Nothing like it had ever appeared before. She had to take several breaths to calm herself down. One of the 3 candles blew out, and she cursed herself for not bringing a lighter. Azam? She asked, rubbing her eyes to make sure she wasn't dreaming. The face didn't move. It was triangular in shape, and too high up, making whatever was standing there about 7 feet tall. She studied its features. It looked almost like a normal face, except it was far too pale and gaunt. The eyes seemed far too large, and its nose was short and pushed up with wide holes, like a fleshy skeleton. Its lips were so thin, she could barely tell it was smiling. Kylie cleared her throat and felt herself smile shyly in return. Hi. This is our first time meeting like this. The face's smile grew wider, the lips pulling back from sharp pointed teeth, 4 of which were elongated like fangs. That's when Kylie realized it wasn't smiling, but baring its teeth at her. She licked her suddenly dry lips. Beside her, she heard the planchette move. Her eyes darted to the side for a moment, and when she looked back at the corner, the face had become more solid and visible, a pale triangle of color, in the pitch black of the basement. Nice trick. I know you can't hurt me. You would have by now. Kylie laughed nervously and used her hand to feel for the board beside her. She took hold of it and dragged it closer. She didn't take her eyes off of the face. Another candle blew out. 1 was left. The basement felt heavy with the darkness. This is our first date. It should be special. The planchette flung itself to yes without her touching it at all. She could barely see the answer from the edge of her vision. Should we play a game? It went to no. So then, what should we do? The planchette began to move quickly over the board. She glanced quickly, trying to keep the face in her peripheral, but couldn't catch what the board was spelling. Wait, what? The planchette moved again, too quick for her side glancing. Kylie barely had a chance to register what it said as her eyes darted between letters. She looked at the face in the corner, pursing her lips and very annoyed. It's too fast. Just do it slower. No tricks. It began to move slower this time. Kylie carefully read it out loud. Don't look. The piece kept moving. Down. A chill came over her, and her stomach tightened. Kylie slowly raised her eyes, and then the last candle went out.